Hello, and welcome to this year's reading for the Cornfield Review. My name is Ben McCorkle, and I'm an associate professor of English here at Ohio State Marion. If you're not already familiar with it, the Cornfield Review is Ohio State Marion's literary publication. Founded in 1976 and in near continuous production ever since, the Cornfield Review has over the years showcased the literary and artistic talents of our students, our faculty, our staff, and the community at large. This year, as you might imagine, has posed unique challenges for our publication. However, our contributors, as well as our intrepid editorial staff, certainly rose to meet the challenge. We're proud to present this year's issue to you. And now, without further ado, I present to you a selection of readings from this year's issue.
Sam plays the Beetle game. Sam plays the Beetle game. They're the best at it, Johnny had said. It's easy to play, too. Hide in a very dark, small space. Hold your breath. You can blink, but you can't cry. Johnny had said that Sam was the best at it, which made sense, because Johnny couldn't fit in the cupboard. Sam doesn't like the Beetle game that much. Johnny had to leave. He said so. He said that he would be back soon, and he made Sam promise to play the Beetle game if anyone came by. Anyone at all, even Dad, and Sam didn't understand that, but had nodded anyways. Then Johnny went away into the fog, and Sam was left alone. Sam plays the Beetle game now, and waits. The Beetle game is very specific. No moving, no crying. If you cry, you lose. That's the rule. It's the most important one, and Sam is very good at it. The waiting, too. Waiting. A shadow passes over the window, not even a shadow, just a shimmer. The idea of a shadow, just the sound of footsteps outside in the fog. Breathy breeze or a whispering groan. Sam does not flinch, even though they want to, because they are the best at the Beetle game, because Johnny had said so, and so they are silent and still, and they do not cry at all. Not even in the way that you can cry when no one is looking. Not even that. The footsteps get closer to the window, shuffling, stumbling, a dull thump against wooden boards. Sam doesn't move an inch, even when it sounds like the breath is in their ear. Too close, it sounds hungry, it sounds like crunching and groaning and hurt, and it smells like a graveyard cooked in a microwave. Sam is as quiet as a beetle, and they shake, but it's okay because it doesn't count. It feels like it takes forever. The thing outside, it rasps and groans and chokes on its own breath, and Sam squeezes their eyes shut and counts to 12, 10 times over. The footsteps mumble and stumble and finally stumble away. Back into the fog where all the bad things come from. Sam wonders if that was Dad. Sam hasn't seen Dad in a long time now, ever since Johnny had to board up the windows and teach Sam the Beetle game, and now they eat beans from cans and don't have to go to school anymore. The footsteps go away, and Sam keeps hiding in the cupboard and waits. Sam waits for a long time. When Johnny comes back, he'll see that Sam was the best at the Beetle game, and then he won't ever leave again. He'll be so happy that he stays, and he won't have to leave, and the things that stumble around the fog won't come near anymore, and everything will be happy again. It'll be just like before, when Sam didn't have to play the Beetle game, and Dad came home, and Johnny didn't look so sad all the time. Sam hopes Johnny comes back soon. Poetry section. Poem Apricots in Summer. 8 years. It was 8 years, I think. An 8-year war where all the pieces were me, I suppose. You burned my sharp edges away, and I was all sharp edges. I was young, we were young once, with stars in our eyes. My stars faded. Your stars didn't. You became a galaxy, and this is when I'd say a metaphor about astronomy or astrology, but I just think that you were very pretty, and I think you deserved to be looked at. Don't now. Don't make this hard on me. Don't be gentle. I don't want that. I want you to tear me apart, or I don't want to live at all. I wanted to go to Italy with you. We were different people in Italy, weren't we? I'm sorry, I lied. We never went to Italy. But I often imagine we did. Like I imagine the curl of your lips, the smile as you say my name. There it is again. In Florence this time. Let's go to Italy, I say. You laugh and say, why? I don't have the heart to answer. Poem, Son to Be. We were happy in summer. The smiles were yellow and the tears were warm, and my sobs were like the ice cubes in our glasses, clinking, making noise. We didn't notice, or maybe we played polite, ignored it. I don't know. We were happy in the summer, but now it's autumn. It's gotten colder, and I miss you. Poem to Home. I don't like poetry. I think it's overrated, Well, what I think is that poetry is written by people who are lonely and want to be, loved, maybe. And it never happens, darling, never. The unwritten letters, the seldom spoken words, they just sit there, gathering dust, like what all poetry is good for. Here's a funny joke. You will laugh, it is fairly funny, and I am seldom funny. The joke, of course, I could say it was me, but I think I'm being disingenuous. I'm the joker, not the joke, and you're not the joke either. The joke is something else, right? This can't be it. This can't be all that life is, right? Once upon a time, I fell deeply in love. The gross kind, you know, where your stomach hurts. 100 angry butterflies or bees. It tore me up, and I promised myself I will never, ever love again. But darling, those butterfly bees, they don't know when to quit.
Welcome. My name is Jerome Shapiro, and my contribution to the 2020 edition of Cornfield Review is titled simply Village Voice Exercise. Perhaps this title needs a little explaining. From 1955 to 2018, there was an independent weekly known as The Village Voice. It aimed to be the voice of the arts community, Greenwich Village in New York City. I subscribed for about a decade. Good journalism and a lot of fun. For instance, it sponsored a yearly Bob Dylan impersonation contest with many different categories such as early, middle, and late career Bob Dylan, female Bob Dylan, and so many more categories. It was a hoot. Another competition was for science fiction stories in exactly 250 words. Stuart Lishon modeled one of his writing exercises on this competition in his spring 2020 class, English 3465. So, without further ado, The Village Voice Exercise by Jerome Shapiro. As luck would have it, I avoided being thrown out of college by the end of civilization as we know it. I was attending a United Students for Universal Class, USUC, rally for zombie rights. Maggie, the Pied Piper of campus, was speaking. In the front rows, zombies were sitting sedately. White Castle's Impossible sliders, it turns out, kept them under control. Impossible Burgers is too important, Maggie proclaimed, to be controlled by the transnational capitalists who care only about their quarterly profit reports and not the needs of the people. The state must take control of the means of production. A PowerPoint presentation of oppressed workers turning icky goo into impossible burgers began. Clearly, the USUC's leadership never read the Rogers Report on the Challenger disaster or understood the inherent hazards of PowerPoint presentations. The zombies, however, realized they weren't getting their RDA of human flesh. One lurched onto stage and proceeded to make himself a Maggie burger from her soft pale flesh of an arm. I threw myself at the zombie, managing to knock down the podium with my head. When I came to, a dozen VPs of student affairs accused me of agitating the zombies, who are now huddled in a corner grumbling to themselves, and said they were going to have me expelled. A couple jocks dragged me out of the auditorium. That's when it started. We ran back to the auditorium. Have you ever seen the movie Carrie? Remember the prom scene? It was worse.
Hi, my name is Travis McClurkin, and this is my poem, Caramel Memories. Streaming through the sun-kissed blinds, golden yesteryear saturates the living room. In the chair made of creaks and cracks sits an idol flush with illuminated brown, a tribute more beautiful and more blasphemous than any calf statuette. I await my sleeping uncle's rise from his dream-bogged cave, so he can resume his annual sermons. The church is quiet for now, but there has never been a better time to believe. The chipped walls smile proudly at the seams as they welcome aspiring apostles to their humble chambers, spreading family photo triptychs like open arms. As Turkey Day football crumples to the crunch of Mississippi leaves that magnolias have placed proudly on the soil, my 6-year-old toes let the wispy fingers of the carpet wrap them in safety. Knees tucked to chest is how I pray on these Thursday evenings. I am the only one that attends this tryptophan mass. Reciprocated sweetness my one true reward for remaining faithful. The pitter-patter stubble dusted in salt and pepper gleamed on his chin, smirking slyly with his lips as new tales simmer in his mind. Once he awakes, my congregation will rejoice. Recycling the stories wrapping my prophet will feed a mind even to the afterlife. Hi, my name is Travis McClurkin, and this is my poem, A Letter from the Bifocals Weary of My Short-Sightedness. I write you a tunnel. I scratch in stalagmites that won't groan with their years of reaching for the ceiling. I carve registers, prophesying future memories in the pock-marked walls, and sprinkle in seeds that will outgrow the roots permeating in doubt. I erase the withered floor to ingrain grooves stuffed with friends that smile with their teeth and family that laugh with their eyes, stomping out worries with crow's feet. I draw a flaming symbol, something that will burn away the dead skin on your fingertips and the calluses on your eyelids. I use it to light your way, then stab Janus and close his mirroring doors. Life is always the right choice.